Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning, July 12th, 2023. We get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings at this time, as well as our clients now, in fact, to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. We've had a really good week's worth of training already on Monday and Tuesday. We dug into the credit and funding program. We've provided you scripting and processes and success stories. So if you've not seen the recent trainings, I did email you each this morning, assuming you're on the distribution list, a reminder to maybe go back and watch Monday and or Tuesday's training, and then to remind you about today's training. So today, we're going to talk about how you can benefit. So we've spent a lot of time over the past couple of days talking about how clients benefit, but I want to make sure that you're perfectly clear on how you can make money by helping people with a credit and funding program. We believe that when it comes to making money, it's simple. You want to solve other people's problems, and then you can earn an income. Now, the bigger the problem that you solve, typically the more income that you can make in general, right? So if you and I are hungry and we go over to Taco Bell for what my favorite is just a simple bean burrito, the person behind the counter helped solve our problem, right? They sold us a bean burrito and they make a little bit of money. As many of you know, I'm a stage 4 cancer patient. So when I go to oncology like yesterday, and I'm going in for cancer treatment, it costs $20,000 per cancer treatment. Well, they're helping me with a bigger problem and they're making more money. Well, in your case, we can help people with their problems revolving credit and money, and you can make a great income. So let's talk more about that. So today's training is going to explain how you can easily make $3,000 a day. So this is not get rich quick. It's not like winning the lottery. And frankly, I know many of you are very talented. There's probably a list of 10 other things you could go out and do and make a couple $1,000s a day. But this is one option. This is my responsibility to show you how it would work. And so what we want to do is help clients with their credit and their money problems via the credit and funding program. The credit and funding program, as we've talked about on prior trainings, is an effective resource to help clients improve credit and get at least $100,000 in funding or financing, depending upon the structure, within 30 days. So that's a one-sentence summary of what you and I are doing. Let's go through that again. The credit and funding program is an effective resource to help clients improve credit and get at least $100,000 within 30 days, guaranteed. Each of you should have a replicated website. We provide each of our small business consultants at no cost a free replicated website. And on that page, there is a credit and funding program description, a little 5-minute overview video, the web form, where the lead capture information is put in. So if you're not familiar with that, I strongly encourage you to go back and look, because that's a key resource. On these recent trainings, we've provided you scripting and all of that, but certainly you want to be familiar with your website. I was talking to one of our top distribution partners this morning. His first name is Lincoln. And so we were visiting this morning, and he had fallen into a trap. What he was doing, which doesn't often work, is he was just sending out his link, like posting it on Craigslist or wherever else. That is not our recommended process. Just sending out your link to people is probably not going to be very successful. So again, if you don't know the recommended process, the best practice, then please go back and watch Monday and Tuesday's trainings. We don't want to be redundant with that. But as you should know, you're making about $3,000 for each referral. Well, how does that work? You're getting $100 up front for each person that enrolls in the credit and funding program, plus you're making 3% of their capital raise. Well, different clients have different capital raises, but we guarantee them a minimum of $100,000. So of course, 3% of $100,000 puts at least $3,000 in your pocket. But I'll tell you, we have a lot of clients that come to us that want much larger capital raises. So it's linear, right? If they want 200,000, then you're getting 3% of 200,000, which changes that to 6,000. You see the pattern. What's great is clients don't have an upfront expense, because I think that would be the biggest objection. If you went out to the marketplace, even if you had a great resource like the credit funding program is, but if they had to pay up front, that would be a major obstacle, major objection. They don't need to. And we talked about that in detail on yesterday's training. So we want them to see the benefits now, they can pay later. So the bottom line is it's a legal and very effective program. Lots of success stories, and we'll start feeding more success stories in on our morning trainings. We have 3 guiding principles as we built and implemented this model. And so we would ask you to at least be aware of them. If you don't agree with them, at least be aware of them. So first guiding principle, most people do not want to have any upfront expenses. So with the credit and funding, no upfront expense. You can check that box. Second is most people, not all people, but most people want fast results. And we're going to define fast as 30 days or less. Well, we've already talked about that. We've revised the program, so we're promising them a minimum of $100,000 in 30 days or less, highlighted there. And then third, most people want to see the benefits first and then pay later, because they're either skeptical or they've been burnt before by other programs. And so these are our 3 guiding principles. So you may not agree with them, and that's okay, but it's important for you to know our approach to the credit and funding program. So do any of you that are on the live training today disagree with any of these? Is your personal philosophy different than that most people don't want to have any upfront expense, most people want to see results fast, and most people want to see the benefits first and then pay later? Does anyone have an issue with our 3 guiding principles for the credit and funding program? Okay, I think we're on the same page. So that's how we've built the credit and funding program. So let's progress. This is not get rich quick. And so I'm not one to say that if it sounds too good to be true, that it probably isn't true, but our program is credible. It's legitimate. We went through and our program was reviewed by the Federal Trade Commission and deemed legal, deemed appropriate. There were no issues with it. So our program is real. It's not get rich quick. We aren't trying to sell you some sort of opportunity, right? For each of you that are a small business consultant, you didn't have to pay anything to become a small business consultant. We provide free websites. So this is not one of those Ponzi schemes or even, MLM or network marketing. Not saying that that's illegal, but this is not a pay to play model. So what we're going to do is just simply show you, and we're going to go through it, how to earn $3,000 per day. We do that by helping people, and there's no investment, no risk on your part. So, but again, I know most of you are very talented. You have many things that you could do to go earn a couple $1,000s a day. This is just one option. So I'm here fighting for your attention, asking to see if you would consider allowing us to work with you to help clients with credit and funding. And if $3,000 a day is enough to get your attention, great. This is going to be a great relationship. Now, if you came back and said, no, $3,000 a day is not going to do it. I don't know what you're doing for other side gigs, but you need $6,000 a day. Well, fine, we'll ramp it up. We need to help 2 clients a day instead of 1. So of course it's linear. So the bottom line is we're going to go through a simple, legal, and effective proven process if an extra $3,000 a day would be helpful or valuable to you. If that's not enough, again, we can double that, but it's going to require 2 enrollments per day instead of 1, which I don't think is difficult with our value proposition. All right, so let's go to the implementation process. Now, this is going to look similar because the implementation process hasn't changed since we've been talking about it, but let's go through it again so we know specifically what do we need to do if our goal is to make an extra $3,000 a day. So as I talked about my conversation with Lincoln earlier today, I don't believe that you're going to be successful just blasting out your link. We've provided you on a prior training the recommended scripting to use, and what you want to do is get on the phone with the prospect. Now, I know some of you don't have time or you don't want to talk to prospects, and if you don't want to, you don't have to. All I can do is show you best practice, because I know that if I can get on the phone with someone, I have over a 90% chance that they're going to enroll. But if I'm just passively blasting out my link and hoping that they'll go do it on their own, it's much lower. So teaching best practice here, how to make an extra $3,000 a day. So we get the prospect on the phone. When we're on the phone with them, what we're going to do is we're going to turn around and text them your link. Because again, as we said, we provide you a free replicated website. Thus, you have a link to your free replicated website. When you're on the phone with them, you want to text that to them. So I can role play that, if you will. So we have Jamar on the line here. Jamar, welcome to the Zoom. Hey, Jamar, thank you for your interest in the credit and funding program. We do 3 things. We do it well. With no upfront cost, we help remove negative items from your credit report. We help you add positive trade lines. And by doing that, we can guarantee you, Jamar, a minimum of $100,000 within 30 days. What I'd like to do is get your permission. I'm going to text you a link to my page, and I'm going to walk you through the program because I want you to be able to see it as we're discussing it. Is that okay, Jamar? Now pause, role play. I'm on the phone with Jamar, right? So I already have his phone number. I don't have to ask him for his phone number. So I'm going to send him my link while we're on the phone. Now, if Jamar has a million questions, remember you have that 5-minute video that's posted on your free replicated website. Frankly, if Jamar started peppering me with too many questions, I'd say, Jamar, man, you've got some great questions. You're still on the link, right, that I sent you. Do you see that embedded YouTube video? Go ahead and click on that and hit play, and let's go through that together. So pause or role play. So there's a tool that's ready for you on your replicated website that the prospect can watch while you're still on the phone. So you're there to support. Again, I would stay on the phone while Jamar is watching that, because there's a very high probability that once Jamar has watched that 5-minute video, he's going to be willing to move forward. So that's a 1A and 1B. So I'm still on the phone with Jamar. Now, again, some of you are going to be pessimists and say, well, damn it, I didn't really want to have to get on the phone with anyone. Well, what we're talking about are best practices to make an extra $3,000 a day. Right? So if you've got a better way to make an extra $3,000 a day, do it your way. But yeah, this is going to take probably a 10 to 15-minute call in exchange for getting clients enrolled and making about $3,000 a day. So there's a trade-off. We certainly do have examples of some of you that don't talk to prospects, that just drive into your landing page. So that's possible. But my job is to teach you what's most likely probable, and this is the way. So then, now while I'm on the phone, hypothetically with Jamar here, I'm going to go ahead and get Jamar enrolled. But I'm not going to force him, I'm not going to pressure him, I'm not going to hard sell him, but he's got the website pulled up in front of him, my replicated website. Either he's looking at his phone, looking at his iPad, looking at his computer, it really doesn't matter. But I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, Jamar, there on the page that I sent you the link, do you happen to see the form that asks for 4 pieces of information? Let's go ahead and get you put into the system so you can qualify for the program. All it does, Jamar, is it asks you for your first name, your last name, your phone number, and your email. I'm going to stay on the line here, and if you can put that in, and I might even joke with Jamar, well, if you need help with that, let me know. Well, Jamar is no fool. He knows his name, the phone, and email. So once the client, and if this doesn't make sense, if this is not natural to you, you want to go look at your replicated website that we've provided you. Look at the credit and funding page, and you'll see there's a form, and that's all that it asks for is 4 pieces of information: first name, last name, phone number, email. You want to be real familiar with your replicated site, specifically the credit and funding page. Now, once Jamar has done that, he's going to hit the blue button. It's going to take him to the next page. He's going to agree to the terms and conditions. So then at that point, you're done. You have enrolled Jamar. You have enrolled the client. You can go to your QuickBooks or however you track your money for you or for your business, and you're now anticipating you're going to receive over $3,000 by having completed steps 1 and 2. Now it's time for us on our end to do our job. So I'm going to tell you about that, of course. That's 3 and 4. But before I get to 3 and 4 about what we do, are there any questions that you all have on numbers 1 and 2? The key is to keep it simple. And once you've reiterated the benefits and that there's no upfront cost, you're in a really good position. But you need to be effective in letting them know, hey, we're going to do 3 things. We're going to help you remove negative items from your credit report. We're going to help you add positive trade lines to your credit report if needed. And third, we're going to guarantee you a minimum of $100,000 within 30 days through the credit and funding program. Okay, now with that, let's go ahead and let me text you my link. Let's go through it together. So, sometimes it's choice of words. I'm not going to say, hey, Jamar, I'm going to send you my link so you sign up. Well, that may be the goal, but I wouldn't say that. What I'm going to say is, Jamar, with your permission, I'm going to text you my link while we're on the phone, and that way you can see what we're discussing as well as hear it. I find that most people benefit from being able to see what we're talking about as well. Super simple. Now, you might run into the rare bird that doesn't have internet access on their phone, so the link's not going to work, but that's going to be the exception, not the norm. Okay, so now once you've done this, you're done. Now we pick it up and run with it from there. So I want to make sure that you know what that is. And on tomorrow's training, I'm going to actually pull up and show you our onboarding checklist. And I'm going to walk each of you through the onboarding checklist, just like you were a new client. So we're going to do that on tomorrow's training. But let's just talk about it for a bit today, and then I'll show you and role play with you tomorrow the implementation. So then once you signed up the client, they've put in their information onto the lead form. Now, keep in mind, if they do 2A, but they don't do 2B, you have their information. You're able to follow up with them, and then our system will follow up with them. We'll send them reminders and prompt them to continue with the process. So this is what we call the lead form. And then the lead form blends directly into the terms and conditions on your website. So no, they're not waiting for an Adobe or DocuSign to enroll. They can do it right from your website. Perfect. So you'll know that they did it. You'll get an emailed confirmation that they've done it. Okay, so let's go back to the implementation. So now it's moved from what you do, now it's to what we do. So we're going to onboard the client. So once they're contracted, they're onboarded, the clock is now ticking. We are now responsible to get them a minimum of 100,000 in 30 days. The clock is ticking. There's urgency on our behalf to implement, create value, fulfill our promises to the client. So we're going to send them an onboarding Adobe. That onboarding Adobe is what we're going to review on our training tomorrow. So you see exactly what it is. You're perfectly familiar with it. Now, as a distribution partner, you're not burdened with that, but I want to be so transparent that you know exactly what the client's going to get, the treatment, the process afterwards. So on that onboarding Adobe, it has a number of things, which we'll go through in detail tomorrow. But one of the things that it has is a request for a soft credit pull. Well, you and I know a soft credit pull means it's not going to impact their credit, but it allows us to take a look at their credit and see what needs to be done. Because we made 3 promises to the client, didn't we? We're going to help them remove negative, add positive trade lines, and get them at least 100,000 in 30 days. Well, that is only possible if we get a data set to work with. So the onboarding Adobe is going to start by collecting that data set through a soft pull that they'll authorize. Again, doesn't impact their credit. They're not signing up for something, no hard inquiries. But that will give us the data set so we know what do we need to do to help them get their credit up so they qualify for at least 100,000. So it'll let us know if there's negatives that need to be addressed. It'll let us know if they might benefit from positive trade lines, because there's not a standard fits all approach to improving credit. We need to look at the client's profile and create a plan very quickly, very succinctly regarding the client's unique mitigating circumstances. Now, also on that onboarding Adobe, it's going to say, hey, when you enrolled, you agreed to pay a $999.99 refundable setup fee. That's clear. That is owed when they enroll. But we can finance that so they don't have any upfront expense. So it's not bait and switch. It's the analogy I gave yesterday is if you and I go into the car dealership, we do not expect them to give us a new car. We don't. I mean, that'd be crazy, foolish, right? Illiteracy. But we certainly can finance it so we can drive off the lot with no upfront expense. And that is exactly what we will promise and deliver. So they can either pay the refundable setup fee out of pocket if they would like, or alternatively, they can request financing and we can finance it so they don't pay that out of pocket. As we talked about yesterday, don't see this as a negative. This is a positive, because one of the things that we're doing, right, there's 3 things we promised to do: help remove negative, help add positive trade lines, and help them get at least 100,000. Well, if we're getting them financing for the refundable setup fee, we're already delivering value, because that's one of the 3 promises. We would get them a new primary trade line that would report positively, right? So this is a self-fulfilling prophecy. This is not a negative to the client. Furthermore, if the client wants funding now, great. We will find that out on the onboarding Adobe. And again, I'm going to show that to you tomorrow and we'll go through it. But if they want some funding now, they're like, I just need some funding right now. Sure, 100,000 in 30 days is fine, but I need some funding right now. That's fine. We're going to be able to then get an application and find out what offers they have right now that puts money in their pocket right now. Now, right now is kind of, I guess, hyperbole, but within 24 hours to a week. So that is part of the implementation process. And I'm going to show you the onboarding Adobe tomorrow. We're going to go through it together. Then our team of certified paralegals are going to draft the documents to help remove the applicable negative items, because we made 3 promises, didn't we? If you enroll in the credit and funding, there's no upfront cost, and we're going to do 3 things. We're going to help you remove negative, we're going to help you add positive trade lines, and we're going to get you at least 100,000 in 30 days. Well, we need to be implementing, right? We can't just talk about it, we need to do it. So 3C lets you know that. So someone asks, oh, do you do credit repair? We do not do credit repair. Actually, the Federal Trade Commission came to us and said, hey, do you guys do credit repair? And we said, no, we don't do credit repair. And we showed them all the documentation and they agreed we don't do credit repair. Now, do we help repair credit? And I know it sounds a bit like semantics, but yeah, certainly we help improve credit scores. Absolutely. That's one of the 3 promises. But technically, we do not do credit repair. We have a more advanced approach than disputing items. And then, of course, then on 3D, as we promised, we're going to help them start adding positive trade lines if they would benefit from it. We are going to be very consultative and objective in helping clients accomplish their goals. So we need to look at their credit report. If there's negative items that need to be addressed, that's where 3C comes in. Maybe it's just inquiries. Maybe they just have too many inquiries, but we're going to manage by fact, working with the client. And on 3D, had positive. And the end result, the end goal is better credit and at least $100,000 in 30 days. Now, we did just hire a new credit and funding program manager. She doesn't start full time until early August, but she'll actually be doing all of the onboarding calls and working with the clients to give them a warm welcome. She's doing a little bit of part-time work with us now, but she's leaving her current corporate position, joining us in early August. And so the process will remain the same, but we will have a new dedicated person focused just on this as soon as she's W-2 full-time starting early August. So that's the implementation process. So what's the conclusion? The credit and funding program is a legal, legitimate, and effective resource to help clients improve credit and access funding rapidly. Minimum of $100,000 in 30 days. From your perspective, you're going to make at least $3,000. Should be per day. The assumption you're helping one client per day, and that is very clearly calculated by 100 up front. So in other words, $100 of the $999, which can be financed, goes to you. And then 3% of the client's capital raise. So 3% of the minimum of 100,000 is a minimum of 3,000. So of course, contact us. And as I mentioned in the email this morning, we really encourage you to have weekly one-on-one calls with us. We do these Zooms on a pretty much daily basis. And then of course, you can always email us or text us or call us if you have immediate assistance needed. Who has questions? Let me reduce this down a bit, because the goal today was to show how you can be making $3,000 a day helping people with a credit and funding program. So let's open it up for questions. We've got some of a number of new small business consultants online. Alonzo, welcome to the call. Eddie, Jamar, and Tamika, and then a number of you that have been with us for a while. Who has questions on how the credit and funding program works, how you're paid, and frankly, how simple it is to earn $3,000 a day? All right, Terry's asking about leads. So yes, we can provide you leads. We don't sell leads. It would be free leads. So yes, Terry, we can provide you free leads. But what we ask is you bring on your first client. Show us that you're committed enough, and you could count as yourself if you want to enroll yourself. But bring on one client, and then you'll qualify for our free lead program. And we've got a bunch of free leads, because even though we have good conversion, we don't convert everyone. So we have plenty of people that I would consider warm leads, people that have inquired that haven't signed up. And I can do a quick run. Let me do a quick report. And let me give you a number of just how many fresh leads we've received so far this morning. I'll pull that up, and we need people to help reach out to them. So give me just a second and I'll run that report. But in the meantime, questions, comments, concerns, who can I help you with? Or what can I help you with? So 14 is the answer. So we've had 14 leads this morning so far come in that haven't signed. So yes, we definitely have warm to hot leads that we need help with. But what's the prerequisite? Bring a deal on yourself first. It could be yourself as an individual. That's not my point though, but bring on one client, show us that you understand the process as described here, and then sure, we can get you leads. All right, so James has a question. He says he wants to be clear that when the client is onboarded, which we talked about the onboarding here, and I'm going to show you the onboarding document tomorrow. But James is asking when they're onboarded and they want to finance the $999. So yes, James, I'll answer your question. So if someone says, hey, I signed up, but I want to finance the $999. So there's a couple things. we're going to get them multiple funding offers, and there won't be any hard inquiries. So that will put some money in their pocket now, right? Because we made 3 promises. One of the 3 promises is to get them at least 100,000 in 30 days. So it's like, okay, great. If you're ready to get started on funding, let's do it now. So we'll have them fill out a funding app, no hard inquiries, and see what they qualify for now. And then the expectation is we'll be able to get them at least enough to cover the refundable setup fee, probably a lot more. We have about 40 different lenders, different banks, credit unions, alternative lenders. We'll be able to get everyone at least one funding offer, at least enough for this, but they might get a lot more. They might get 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 from that initial tranche. So with that being said, the terms of the funding that they receive will be dependent upon the lender, not based upon us, right? Because we're not the lender. We're considered the technical advisor. So they might have 10-year terms to repay back the loan. They might have 5-year terms. It might be single digit, might be double digit interest. I mean, we're not the lender, so we don't control that. Now, obviously, as we work with them to improve their credit by removing negative and adding positive, their credit score is going to go up. They're going to get better terms and they're going to qualify for more funding. But regardless, it is what it is in the beginning. So the first part of James' question was a little bit about the structure of the repayment if they finance that. And the answer is, I don't know. We'll have to see, because the lenders determine that, not us. And then second part of James' question is compensation. So once they have paid or financed, which means they paid, but they're just paid over time, the refundable setup fee that triggers the $100 to you, which is great. We pay daily. And then secondly, as they have their capital raise of the 100,000, then you're paid 3% of that, paid daily. So I think that answers both parts of James' question. Let's see. So Eddie's asking, which is kind of a continuation of that. So yeah, so let's say that they want to finance the refundable setup fee, great. And then in Eddie's question or example, let's say they get $10,000 funding offer, fine. So then they get $10,000, and then now they'll pay that refundable setup fee out of that first tranche. That's fine. Eddie's question is, does he get 3% of that initial tranche? And the answer is yes. So in that case, Eddie, you would get the $100 plus 3% of that example of 10,000. So you'd be paid off of both of those. Yes, sir. All right, James says, thanks for the clarification. You're welcome. Eddie says, thank you. Okay, so I think we got a game plan. So the credit and funding, it's good. It's maybe great, right? We're delivering 3 value propositions to the client with no upfront cost. We're going to help you remove negative. We're going to help you add positive trade lines. And we're going to work with you to guarantee you a minimum of $100,000 within 30 days. And so what you want to do is walk them through the enrollment process, not push them, not force them, not coerce them. But if you follow this process, which for you, it's only 2 steps, right? Because we do steps 3 and 4. But if you can just follow 2 steps, I'm confident you'll have great success. Now, again, if you want to be more passive, you don't want to be on the phone with them, you don't want to walk them through it, then don't do it this way. Do it your way. But if you do it this way, I'm confident you'll have a very high conversion rate. I'm sure that we can help at least 1 client a day, and that's going to put $3,000 a day into your pocket. If that's good enough, then let's do it. If $3,000 a day is not worth your time to spend, I don't know what it would be, 15 minutes, well, then you're pretty damn successful already. But we could obviously help 2 people a day, and we could double that. We have a couple of you that say, no, I want $10,000 a day. Well, it's just a mathematical formula. We need to be helping 3 to 4 clients a day. But it's not hard to do. There's a whole lot of people that believe what you and I believe, that they want better credit, they want funding, but they don't want to have any upfront expense. They don't want that. They want results fast. They want funding in 30 days or less, and they want to see the benefits first, and they want to pay later. All right, and then one last question. So Eddie is asking about let's see, let me go find where Eddie's question. Okay, 3D. So positive trade lines. So we're not advocates of AUs, of authorized user accounts. So they wouldn't be AUs. So primary accounts. How do you get primary accounts? You apply for it, you get approved, you use it, and it reports. So there's many different types of primary trade lines, many different types. One of which is the $100,000 trade line that we've talked about quite a bit last week. So the terms and conditions, if you will, of going and getting an American Express $50,000 credit card, or a Visa $25,000 credit card, or the $100,000 trade line, all those are going to have their own terms and conditions, of course. But we can help recommend and guide them through adding new trade lines. And if they want to do that, they can. But you're right, Eddie, you shouldn't assume, and I don't think you did, that just because they've enrolled in the credit and funding program that we're going to take care of their American Express card. We wouldn't promise that. That's outside the nature of the agreement. It's part of what we're helping them do, but we're not going to pay their Amex bills. We're not going to pay their Visa bills. We're not going to pay for their positive trade lines. All right, well, very good. Thank you all. We'll be back tomorrow. And tomorrow, what we're going to do is we're going to actually go through the onboarding Adobe, so you see what we're doing. And again, we have that new young lady. She'll start, I forget the date, August 7th, 8th, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but early August, she'll be the one doing the onboarding of all the clients in a dedicated fashion. So hope you all have a great day. Let us know if you have any questions, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.